Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to another Premier Draft of Duskmourn House of Horror. Without further ado, let's just get into the pack one pick one. We've got an excellent rare here. Chainsaw is an efficient removal spell, a 2 mana, 3 damage burn spell, and a win condition all in one. This card's insanely good. Whenever any creatures are dying, you're getting rev counters on it, so that's your creatures or your opponent's creatures, and it does count the creature that you kill when this enters the battlefield, and then it's going to give an equipped creature plus X plus O, where X is the number of rev counters on it. So in the late game, this easily becomes plus 5, plus 6, plus O. So even if you top deck a 1/1 with haste, like that little clockwork thing, you're just slamming in for 5 or 6 damage. So this card's completely absurd and an easy pack one, pick one. For pick number 2 here, we've got Defiant Survivor, pretty good with some combat tricks or some indestructible kind of protection spells and stuff. It's also really good with vehicles, but the only vehicles in the format are at rare, so that doesn't happen too often. That is perfectly fine. Fear of Exposure is another cute way to try to get survival abilities going, so that's kind of a cute combo with the Survivor. But here, off of the Chainsaw start, we're definitely going to try really hard to play red. So a black-red card, a Rakdos card here, is pretty much just as flexible as an off-color card like a green card. Like if I take one of these, I really want to play green-red, and if I take this, then I want to play black-red. We're kind of only adding one extra color to what we're doing. So I'm perfectly happy to take Disturbing Mirth over these other cards. I think that, well, outside of Inquisitive Glimmer, it is the strongest card by raw power level. You have to build around it a little bit, but there's so much good sack stuff going on in Rakdos that it's really easy to get full value out of this, where you're essentially spending 2 mana to draw 2 and manifest Dread, which is absurdly undercosted. For pick 3 now, we have the overcosted removal of Impossible Inferno. It's still fine in the late game if you're good at hitting Delirium, since you do draw a card off of it, but I don't think it's a high pick like Scorching Dragonfire, the 1 and a red 3 damage instant removal. We've also got Fear of Burning Alive here. I think that's going to be the pick for me. It's a great way to top off your curve. Obviously, you really want to hit Delirium, but Rakdos is pretty good at doing that, and Red in general. Red has some good enchantment creatures and some good artifact creatures, so as long as you pair it with a color that can self-mill, so black or green, then you're usually in a good spot to have Delirium by turn 6 for this to be a 6 mana 4/4 that shoots your opponent's face for 4 and one of their creatures for 4. But sometimes you're aggressive enough you don't even need to shoot a creature for 4. Pick 4 Ghost Vacuum is wild. This card is certainly not for literally every deck in the format, but it is not a bad card at all, and it is quite good in Rakdos. It is going to be a little bit of a nombo with Delirium stuff, where we will want to exile some creatures from our own graveyard to get maximum value out of this, but Rakdos is one of the best decks in the format when it comes to putting a bunch of creatures in each player's graveyard, because we're going to be doing stuff like Chainsaw and plenty of other removal spells to be putting our opponent's creatures in their graveyards, and we're going to be Manifest Dreading and sacrificing our own creatures left and right. So there's going to be some full graveyards for the Ghost Vacuum, and this will be a huge win condition at 6 mana. And despite Rakdos usually being a really aggressive deck, it actually does play really well as a grindier deck in this format, using a bunch of card draw and removal in the early game, and then wrapping things up and topping them off with just insanely powerful 6-drops like Fear of Burning Alive and the Ghost Vacuum. So it's not even counterintuitive to the deck. It's not that aggressive of a strategy, at least it doesn't have to be. Pick 5 Scorching Dragonfire is a beautiful sign for red in this draft pod. However, an Unable to Scream is also a really good sign for blue. And if black itself looked like it was really getting cut off of here, we could try a pivot towards Boros for Arabella. That would be fine, but I don't think black's getting cut off when there is a Winter's Intervention in this pack. Certainly weaker than Scorching Dragonfire, but a fine card for any black deck, and Fear of Lost Teeth, which is good in specific black decks like Rakdos. So I think Rakdos still looks like a super fine spot to be, and we're pretty much 100% likely to play the Scorching Dragonfire, so it would be very speculative to take the Arabella. Pick 6, we definitely need a few ways to be able to sacrifice our Disturbing Mirths, so while Diversion Specialist isn't the most exciting of the sack outlets, just having that sack outlet available is very important for multiple different synergies in the color pair, one of which we already have with Disturbing Mirths, so let's grab that Diversion Specialist. Pick 7 Clockwork Percussionist. Let's go. This card's a huge overperformer. A little sad to have to take it over the Gorge. It's always nice to have a little bit of fixing. But this card, again, as I was saying, is just a massive, massive overperformer. It's so much better than it looks. You know you're never going to be down a card with this. It's always going to just give you its full value, because whenever it dies, you exile the top card. You can play it till the end of your next turn. So unless you, like, attack in and this dies on turn 2 and you hit one of your 6 drops, that's the only time it doesn't really draw you a card, when it dies. But the fact that it's an artifact and a creature that you want to die is really nice towards hitting Delirium. It's really nice as a sack card. Just hits a lot of great synergy. Pick 8, Boiler Builder's Rippers, perfectly fine in the archetype. Alternatively, if we want some more artifacts to fill the graveyard, Keys to the House is okay here. Just run it over our 17th land to throw an artifact in our grave in the early game. I'd actually be fine with that here. I don't think Boiler Builder's Ripper is the kind of card, because it's a 5-drop, that you want to have a ton of copies of. Pretty happy with 1 or 2. But there are some better 5-drops in the format. We can't really run a deck with like 4 or 5 plus. So I'll actually go for the Keys to the House here. I think we can probably find a Ripper later. Pick 9, pretty fine with the Ragged Playmate for fueling Delirium, getting an artifact and a creature in the grave early. Alternatively, Terramorphic Expanse is good when you care about Delirium, because it's a way to get a land into your graveyard without having to manifest Dread to do it. Currently, we only have one way to manifest Dread, but I think we'll find plenty more, and Manifest Dread's a really easy way to get a land in your grave. That said, Playmate is somewhat filler, certainly more than the Percussionist. You know what? I'll still take the Expanse. It's close between the two. Those are definitely the options, both for very similar reasons. They're just good Delirium fuelers. But we'll play the Expanse. The other thing that's nice about Expanse in Rakdos specifically is, outside of the Delirium synergies, there are some cards in the color pair that care about when you sacrifice something specifically. And it doesn't care what permanent you're sacrificing, so whenever you sack any permanent, like deal 1 damage to any target type stuff. So having a Terramorphic Expanse as a top deck in the late game with one of those cards on board is pretty sweet. We're really happy to see Fear of Lost Teeth wheel all the way around the draft pod. That's looking great. We've got a really solid, slightly more grindy, more controlling Rakdos deck going on here. Going for them Ghost Vacuum late game kills. Found Footage is another card that's fine if your deck really, really, really cares about hitting Delirium, but I'm going to just stay a little speculative on some random fixing. I don't think we're going to need to try that hard to hit Delirium. Rakdos is usually just pretty good at it inherently. Pack 2, pick 1. Sorry, Twitching Doll, but a second Disturbing Mirth is going to give me a really, really good path to be in. So I have not seen a ton of black outside of the good sack stuff, but that's all we really need here. There's so much red flying around that I know we're going to be able to have a playable deck. I suppose there is definitely an argument for the Twitching Doll. We saw a decent amount of green early in pack 1. I don't remember later in the pack because I wasn't really looking for it. So a pivot here could be justified, seeing as the only black we really saw was the Rakdos cards and the Fear of Lost Teeth here. We only have 2 black cards so far, but I don't know. 2 copies of Disturbing Mirth just play so well together, give us such a strong deck, and we've got great fixing towards, like, if Rakdos really doesn't work out, if we play blue-red splash black, we've got really, really good fixing with 2 different duels towards that. We've got no duels towards green right now. Okay, pack 2, pick 2. Currently have Chainsaw and Scorching Dragonfire. I like Fear of Being Hunted a lot, and it has some really good combos. There's like a 4-mana 2/4 that whenever you attack, you give something +1/+0 first strike. Card is busted with that. That said, I do really want to have a bunch of removal, and Betrayer's Bargain is one of the best removal spells in red in the format. It's a 4-mana deal 5 and exile, but you can also sacrifice something for it. So if you have something you really want to sack, like a Disturbing Mirth, it also synergizes well. 2 mana as removal and Crack Your Mirth. I'm going to go for Betrayer's Bargain. I think it's just a really efficient removal spell and also has good synergies, so it's worth taking over the Fear of Being Hunted, as strong as the card is. Pick 3. Really not a lot here. Soul Rager, Smoky Lounge, Just not strong red cards, and Spectral Snatcher, Fear the Dark cards we would just want to end up cutting ideally. Maybe a little speculative towards green here. A lot of our red cards, or at least a few of our red cards, because we have some strong Delirium, are towards that kind of deck. So green-red does seem like a decent backup plan here, outside of the fact that our speculative dual lands don't have any green. That's a little disappointing. But I think like having a Manifest Dread for a green-red Delirium deck seems great. Could also take Monstrous Emergence, but we're actually doing pretty great on removal. Even if we drop black, we have 3 red removal spells and a Fear of Burning Alive for top-end removal. So speculate on a Manifest Dread there. If we do end up on the green pivot, it will be a little awkward that I did pass up on the green rare, but I have really enjoyed the Rakdos deck, and Double Mirth is phenomenal. Pick 4, there's that Most Valuable Slayer, but we don't have the Fear of Burning Alive here, and we don't have that many early creatures to be attacking with. It's going to be a really low creature count version of the deck right now. Just grab a Murder and stay controlling, I think. None of the green cards are super worth speculating on. Okay, pick 5. Glimmerlight. We need some more early creatures. This is essentially a 3 mana 2/2, but then you get the equipment left behind to make your other creatures more relevant later. We don't have a lot of graveyard recursion or exiling our own cards from grave. Well, if I ever draw the Defiled Crypt alongside the Ghost Vacuum, that's kind of disgusting, right? Every time I exile my own creature with a Ghost Vacuum, I get a 2/2. That is probably way more cute than anything else. I can't resist. It's too funny. It's such a bad idea, but it's too funny. This is essentially going to be a 5 mana 2/2 whenever we're not hitting that exact synergy. Pick 6. Cultist is a filler creature. We need some creatures here. Gremlin Tamer, pick 6. That's sad. There's no chance we can pivot to blue-white. We could pivot to red-green. We could pivot to basically any other red deck, but we can't pivot to... We can't pivot off of red. We have so much good red here. Pick 7. I have no rooms right now outside of the black room, so I don't think a pivot towards blue-red off this meat locker would be any good. Just not going to have the great room synergy. Yeah, it's awkward. We don't really have any backup plan cards here. I guess I'm just taking a given to violence. Oh, there we go. Winter's Intervention is fine. Another murder. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of removal flying around. We just need creatures here. There we go. 2 mana 2/2. It's perfect. Join the party. There was another Winter's Intervention there as well, but again, 2 murder, Dragonfire, Chainsaw, Bargain, Intervention. I don't think we need any more. Did wield a Smoky Lounge Misty Salon. So that is cute. Alright, we only need like 5 or 6 more playables here. We got a whole pack to do it. It's going to be a really slow version of Rakdos with just tons of removal. I would ideally like to cut this given to violence because our creature count is so low. But maybe this final pack, because we have such great removal, we can just spend every single pick where there is a creature on a creature. That's how we really get the deck rolling. If you can't tell, I did miss a daily upload yesterday, sadly. First daily upload I missed in a long, long time. But I have been very, very sick these past like 4 days. I couldn't do anything. Had to call out and fail a quiz and stuff like that. It has not been a fun week, but that's why I'm drinking Gatorade instead of water. I need to rehydrate. I lost a lot of fluids. All right, pack 3, pick 1. We have a 3rd copy of Disturbing Mirth, and the more the merrier on this card. You get to load up the multiples, and they play super, super well when you sack a Mirth to another Mirth, so we will grab that, and it's sort of like another creature, as long as we can sacrifice it. Now, here's an Irreverent Gremlin. That's pretty great. Popular Egotist is one of those cards that triggers when you sack anything, So when we sack our keys to the house, when we sack our Terramorphic Expanse, when we sacrifice Mirths, when we sacrifice things to specialists, so this would be pretty good. I kind of want to just take the Gremlin, though, because I feel like other people are definitely taking the Gremlin, and there's a chance we wheel the Egotist. That said, Egotist is certainly going to be a bit stronger. We are pretty great at sacrificing random nonsense and triggering this. Plus, having another sack outlet to make sure we can pop the Mirths is definitely relevant. Yeah, it does feel a little too important to put any risk on it. So I'm just going to guarantee that Egotist here. Here's a beautiful pickup. Horde Caller is like the perfect 5-drop for any red deck. Plays offense and defense super well, jamming in for 4 with haste and spitting out a gremlin every time. You don't even have to attack with it to get the gremlins. So the card is super, super good. Now, we do have a Terramorphic Expanse and a Carnival here, so we could go for splashing for the Jolly Balloon Man, but the slightly lower creature count, we don't have a ton of great synergies for this. And Horde Caller is just so powerful up front. I don't think I can pass it up for the Balloon Man, but if Horde Caller weren't in the pack, honestly, probably splashing a Balloon Man there because there's not much else going on in there. Second Horde Caller. Let's go. Pick 5. Now that Glimmerlight just for another 2-drop. Turn Inside Out's okay too. Really good when you've got a high creature count. I'm still a little concerned about that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-ish. Yeah, no, I'm not so sure about Turn Inside Out here. I'm grabbing a Glimmerlight. Pick 6, another Fear of Burning Alive. Don't mind if I do. So a Terramorphic Expanse, that's not bad. Pick 7. We'd be fine with a Boiler Builder's Ripper, but this is part of why I don't take them super highly, is if I end up with Horde Callers, those definitely clutter up my 5-drop slot. The card is really good. I don't think Bear Trap's actually great in here because we have so much better removal, but for Delirium purposes, it'd be possible we could cut like an Intervention and play a Bear Trap instead. That'd be okay. It's also got decent synergy with the Egotist. So I don't think it'd be super unreasonable to take the Bear Trap there, but I'm just going to roll with our better removal. Got a really good artifact enchantment count here, right? Yeah, 5 or more instants, artifacts, enchantments, creatures, and lands. So we have 6 different card types we can easily fill the grave with for Delirium. And here's a Skin Ripper for another card triggering every time we sacrifice anything. Beautiful stuff. Join the party. Pick 9, another Glimmerlight to fill out the 2-drop slot. I'm going to go ahead and cut this Give In to Violence now. We've got 27 cards, 2 of which are lands. So we have 25 non-lands. We certainly want to be a 17-land deck with such great 5 and 7 mana cards. Sorry, 5 and 6 mana cards. So we'll start doing some cuts here, like Defiled Crypt, Resurrected Cultist, Balemerc Leech. I mean, those kind of cards. Crypt, just because our creature count's so low, it's going to stack up kind of awkwardly. And even if we get the Ghost Vacuum thing going, which isn't going to be that often, we're not really triggering it that much. Final Vengeance, I could certainly play that over a Winter's Intervention. And I really don't think I need more removal than this. So I'm not going to like run it and Winter's Intervention. Because we have 2, 3, 4. We have 6 dedicated removal spells and 2 Fear of Burning Alive. Yeah, we are like the control king over here. Oh, this is 22 non-lands. I do get to put something back in. I guess I could put the Cadaver Lab Crypt thing back in, but again, it really only works with Ghost Vacuum. Seems a little too narrow. Anytime we draw it without the Ghost Vacuum, it's going to be quite mediocre. Still feel weird things happening with my body. Oh, I'm not fully recovered yet, but recovered enough to hopefully do 2 drafts. Tide us over till the Arena Open this weekend. Let's just throw in the Leech, right? 2 mana, 2/2. Or the Cultist. When you're really good at getting Delirium, you can play this thing twice and sack it twice. Like, fine. And I guess, considering the power of our 5 and 6 mana plays, and the fact that we have 3 5 mana plays and 3 6 mana plays, it would be perfectly reasonable to go for a full 18 land deck here. Where it's like we have 17 lands and the keys as the 18th. If I cut a murder, I still have 5 removal spells and 2 Fear of Burning Lives. Yeah, I don't think I can cut, as mediocre as Leech is, I don't think I can cut it because I really need to get the Mirths going. So I need the 3 2-drop creatures to sack, and the 2 1-drop creatures to sack. Especially because like nothing higher up on the curve is anything I want to sacrifice. Yeah, so ideally we get started by playing one of these 5 cards and then sack one of those to a Mirth. And then when we get future Mirths, we can just sack the next Mirth. And it's super fine. Yeah, I think the cut is one of the removal spells here. Maybe a Ripper. Or the 18th land. The 17th land to go with the keys would also be a fine cut. We do have triple Mirth drawing extra cards towards hitting land drops, if we can get them going. I just really like our top end. Yeah, I think I might cut a Ripper here, because we still have 3 Mirths, Final Vengeance, Stawblade, Skin Ripper, and Egotist for sacking things. If we really need to get a Mirth sacked. And outside of the Mirths that really want to be sacked, we don't have a ton of expendable fodder. We're not going to be sitting here with like ticket rooms doing nothing like I do in a lot of these Rakdos decks. Yeah, we didn't manage to get any of like the rooms that have like a really good enter effect and then just sit there and do nothing. Like Glassworks is another great one. 3 mana deal 4 and the enchantment's just sitting there on the board waiting to get sacked for value. We don't have a lot of that going on, so I think dropping a Ripper here to play the full 18-ish lands looks super fine. So let's go ahead and do that, hop into the gameplay, and see how it does. Alright, here we are with a beautiful start on the play here. Percussionist into the Mirth to draw our cards. Make sure we hit those land drops up to 6 for the Fear of Burning Alive, and we can easily end up with Delirium by the time we have 6 mana. We're going to have an artifact, a creature, and probably an enchantment engraved by there. We have the bargain to sack the Mirth. Oh, well, our opponent can easily just choose not to play a creature here, so we don't get the murder value. That was a pretty awkward hit for us. Is what it is. So yeah, bargain sacking Mirth is going to be a 3rd card type engrave, and then if we manifest into the 4th, we are golden. So, ooh. I do want to kill this Skin Ripper pretty bad. Probably want to just bargain sack Mirth here. Drawing the other Mirth is a little bit awkward. I guess I can sack the Glimmer and do both things. But now it's like maybe I just bargain without sacking Mirth. Because I want to kill Skin Ripper pretty badly. And I know I can sack the Mirth with a Mirth. Oh wait, I can sack both Mirths. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. We're so fine here. That would be a surprising but super fine block. Alright, so I can play this Mirth to sack the first one, and then have the bargain sack the new one, and then our opponent is just having the worst time. We want the land engrave for full Delirium, and now Fear of Burning Alive is active. And yeah, now I can bargain the Skin Ripper sacking this Mirth. And I drew the 3rd Mirth too, which is so gross. That was quite the turn. Feels good to be on the play, you know? This is filthy. There's the Egotist from our opponent, but we've got the extra murder here, so I can murder and then Mirth. I guess I'm supposed to Mirth first in case I draw something better to do than murder. Well, no, let's maximize damage output and just murder first. If I Mirth first, I'm sacking one of my 2/2s. This is so dumb. Triple Mirth. Super disturbing. Our opponent's still stuck on 3 mana. Their deck looks just as dumb. They've got the double Skin Ripper and an Egotist. But sadly for them, we were able to hit all our land drops because we cast 3 Mirths to draw 6 extra cards here, so we had the better hand and got the victory. It is 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are for game 2. We're on the play again, which is great. We don't have anything to sack to our first Mirth, though, which is potentially quite awkward. I'm not going to just run out the Ghost Vacuum turn 1 with nothing to exile anyway. I'm just going to get the tap land out of the way. Make sure I can use all my mana on all the future turns. Alright, and then I guess I'm running the Ghost Vacuum out here, because we're certainly not going to play Mirth without something to sack. Playing against mono blue so far. Piranha Fly is the first play. 2/1 flyer. Uh-oh. Well, part of the value in cracking Terramorphic Expanse immediately is to thin 1 land out of your deck, but we are still flooding 2 land draws in a row here. We just need anything to sack to Mirth, and we are in this game. Three for 3. Pass again. Technically should have exiled this in their end step to slow down potential delirium stuff. Just clicked too fast. Ghostly Keybearer. We're just gonna die if we do not draw some spells soon. And I think this keep was pretty reasonable. 4-lander's a little high, but again, we just needed to draw like any creature. That is literally another land. All right, 1-1. We're on to game 3. All right, well, this hand could have another non-game of Magic here, but for different reasons. We could just not hit black mana, but we do have more red spells than black spells in the deck, and we have several castable cards to start this game off. So I'm gonna roll with it here. It, at the very least, cannot go as badly as our last hand. I'll just get the Glimmer Light down. Let the piggy bank hit me a little bit here. Uh-oh. Indestructible, you say? Alright, come on, top deck land 4. Dang. Yeah, no land 4 is pretty awkward here. We don't really have a way to stop all of their damage now. Probably just have to Betrayer's Bargain the piggy bank. Keep them off the treasure token. And really tempoing us out. Just take some escort hits. For now. Could drop Skin Ripper, but then I'm accepting I'm taking a ton of damage here. They need like the hexproof trick to save this here, and that's an uncommon. All the commons don't give it enough extra toughness, and the +3/+0 that manifests when it dies doesn't work either because we're exiling it. Alright, cool. Definitely feel happy about keeping them off the treasure token there. Because they are also stuck on mana here. They're at 3. I make a 4/3, and in theory it blocks both of these freely. But then if they have a removal spell, they just blow that up. They already want to kill it because it has the better ability. So I'm just going to make a 3/3 here. Bounce off the escort. I'll load up the Skin Ripper and just get Dragon Fired. I'll take a few points of damage. And that feeds. Welcome. There we go. That is huge. As a draw. Certainly on the defensive, but how far on the defensive are we? Do I not attack with my 4/4 here? Is that how far on the defensive I am? I'm hitting 6. I'm basically immediately evening the life totals. I don't think I'm that far on the defensive. I'm hitting for 7, putting them to 13. So 13 to 12 here. Uh-oh, unless they have a really good trick. Okay, that's super fine. We'll trade Horde Caller into 2 of their cards. What do I need for Delirium? An artifact or an enchantment? I can't sack a Glimmerlight. One of the awkward things about the sack cards in this format, they are all creature or enchantment. So Glimmerlight is slightly awkward in the sack decks, just in that you can't really sack it. You know what, if they want to trade a trick for my 3/3, that's pretty fine, because it's literally a 1/1. It just has Glimmerlights on it. That worked out so well for me. They had to cash in a Dragonfire on my Glimmer token. Let my Skin Ripper just hang out. Well, shoot. So we aren't at Delirium, and we're not going to be for a little while. I need 4 mana to suit up this Leech and have a 4/4 blocker for the Escort. Feels like the play, though. I guess I get to load up the Skin Ripper. Get in that unblockable damage. There are definitely justified times for just slamming down the Fear of Burning Alive without Delirium, and we're getting pretty close to that point with our opponent down to 12. It is going to do 5 to their face. 1 from the Leech and 4 from the Fear of Burning Alive. The only part it doesn't do without Delirium is it doesn't shoot one of their creatures, but just in terms of keeping the pressure on and trying to end this game quickly, we might have to just jam it. Friendly Teddy. When it dies, each player draws a card. I like that. Murder. I've already got an instant engrave though, don't I? Yep. Let me just murder on a double block, right? 3 mana to hold up Murder. It's 2 mana for Skin Ripper's ability. Just get funky with it. Holding up a Murder and the ability to sack like a gremlin here. This might be a bad idea, but let's see what happens. If they don't block, they're dead, right? So it's not like they're going to kill me on the crack back here. They have to make some blocks, and then I can ruin those. I can't ruin all of the blocks, but I can ruin enough of them. Okay, well, if they only block one thing, I can ruin all the blocks. Murder. Sack a gremlin. I guess the one sad part about this is I'm only sacking one permanent here, so I'm not pinging another creature to death. But hey. That still seems decent. Alright. Land 5. What do they have from it? They've got a Vicious Clown at least. They've got a Bear Trap for the Skin Ripper, sure. They let the Leech in, they're dead. They don't let the Leech in, I'm killing 2 of their cards. Cool. Take the 2-for-1 trade. Glimmerlight putting in a lot of work here, getting our 2-2 to 4-4 stats to kill 2 of theirs. Ooh. Alright, and the Ghost Vacuum is the win condition now. Yep, at this rate, I'm still not getting to Delirium anytime soon, so we're just dropping this lethal threat onto the board and starting the Ghost Vacuum. If I can get something that deals 3 when it hits the board, they're dead. I don't think there's anything, though. No. Get my Haster. Just get the Horde Caller immediately. That feels like the first card we definitely want. Although they do have some Delirium stuff, so shutting that off also feels fine, but I just want to make sure if I need immediate damage, I am immediately capable of getting it. Wait, actually they are dead. If they don't have instant speed removal here. Might be too bold, but I'm gonna do it, because it's cool. Kill them with one single ghost? Yep. Because we can just double Glimmerlight it. Yeah, so by taking the Haster there, we did get immediate Ghost Vacuum lethal. Let's go. 2-1, heading into game 4. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 4. Pretty happy with the hand. It's a Percussionist from our opponent. Let's get the keys ready. Rakdos again. Arena loves its mirror matches. There's our Fear of Burning Alive to top off the curve. That is pretty wonderful. Drop the Glimmerlight, so I've got something to sack to the Mirth. So next turn I can crack the keys, play the Mirth. However, we are under enough pressure. They're on the more aggressive version of this deck. I may need to go for a trade here. Nah, just take the damage. This leaves me open to Mirthing to draw cards or to like equipping the Glimmerlight so I can actually kill a 2-2 here. Oh, that's bad. That's one of the best rares in the whole format, and it's particularly great in Rakdos because you can just sack it if it deals too much damage to you. For the rest of the game, our opponent is drawing twice as many cards as us, and if they get to keep the demon out, they get to drain us for life instead of just losing life. Since I naturally hit land 3, I don't have to spend mana on the keys right now. So I could Final Vengeance the Unholy Annex Ritual Chamber, and honestly, kind of feels like where I'm at. But I'm going to be taking a beating for doing it. Oh. I don't know why God dang it. I thought both parts of this were creature or enchantment for some reason. Well, shoot. Well, I guess we're just stopping all the damage for now then. I cannot do anything about the thing. Wow, just land past turn. That feels decent for me. Okay, now we can kill the percussionist just by playing a Skin Ripper and cracking keys to the house. I guess if they want to chump block, that's fine too. They could have like the +3/+0 Manifest Dread, but they could do that like in the end step as well in response to Skin Ripper stuff. Alright, let's see if they've got the instant speed removal for Skin Ripper or not. Looks like we want another black source here so I could cast a murder in another card. They do. Okay. Well, they've taken a lot of damage from the Annex here, and we can just blow up the demon here. They get to gain 2 back right now, if they want to. They don't. They want to Cracked Skull. Get rid of my murder, and now I can't kill the demon. Oh, double Fear of Burning Alive? We need to make it to 6 mana, though. 1 mana off from sacking the Fear of Lost Teeth to kill the 1/1. Now they just trade when I attack. Shoot. Things are not lining up well. We're about to just get bodied by the rare. And we just cast the Egotist and the Fear and pass. They play a demon, pass, go back to 12. Can't do anything about the demon. I mean, I could attack all at that point, and then if they block anything with the demon, Fear Burning Alive finishes them off. Finishes the demon off, specifically. That's only if I top deck a land. Yeah, it's not looking great. But we'll see. I could just immediately top deck another murder. I have got a lot of removal in this deck. That Cracked Skull was really inopportune, though. It's not terrible if I don't hit land 6. Really would have preferred to hit land 6. But it does do something. Better than a completely dead draw. Hello. Sure. Now they just get to play Diversion Specialist, sack the Annex, and they've drawn 1,000,000 cards essentially for free. It's awkward. Cool. Double Fear of Burning Alive still gonna be enough, I think. So I like clearing out the board here. Then they drop the Specialist, sack the Annex to stop taking damage. I Fear of Burning Alive the Specialist. And get in again. Oh, Mirth. That is so much better. They can Mirth and Specialist and have 2 blockers up here, plus another card. Oh, we're gonna play Percussionist instead. Fair. And Percussionist trades into the face down too, because the stupid Cracked Skull. Well, if they take a single more point of damage, they're dead to Fear of Burning Alive, so there's that. I can make this one an insta-lethal hit as well. Get the Percussionist out of there. Soft deck Betrayer's Bargain Outfit. Come on. Wow. hits are just golden. I gotta say, I do feel really good about our deck here, even if we lose this game, because they had an active Unholy Annex out for so long, and it still feels like there's a real shot of either player winning this game. I think we've got a few lethal draws now. Ghost Vacuum wouldn't be insta-lethal, but it would definitely kill them the turn after. Balemerc Leech as well. Could kill them pretty soon after. Ward Collar would be kind of nuts. Yeah, we managed to turn this game into a top deck war where they're at 1. But it might not be enough if we just draw lands. Don't tell me they have the damage. Wow. Well, felt like a super winnable matchup. Does make me feel really confident about our deck, that we fought through the Annex so close to lethal, but missed a point of damage somewhere, and that is all it takes. Probably somewhere to get one extra ping in there, win that game. Frustrating loss in the end, though. 2-2 heading into game 5. Ship it. Is keepable. And with the Mirth to draw cards here, I'm ditching a land. Probably could have ditched the Leech too, then we can go Glimmerlight into Mirth. But hey, there's another land, so it looks like we chose fine. Playing against Golgari here. There's the Wary Watchdog. Glimmerlight's going to be excellent here. Keep them off the attack. Wow. Okay, I think with the information we had at the time, I probably actually should have bought him the Leech, but if those are our 2 top decks... Oh, I ditched the wrong land, though. I should have ditched a mountain. Oh, wait, no, I did ditch the 3rd land to make it a 2-lander, so I couldn't have ditched a mountain. Alright, never mind. I am actually prophetic. I knew exactly what was coming the whole time. Yeah. Just trade a Leech into the Watchdog on blocks. Oh. Surprised they trade the Watchdog into the 1/1. I guess they're just in the mood to fill their grave. But they surveilled and just kept the card anyway. So basically no death trigger there. For Jund from our opponent. They've got the mountain off the Terramorphic Expanse. And then Winter's Intervention on the Leech. Now I need to draw something else to sack, which is awkward, but Horde Caller is a fantastic draw. That'll give us the 1/1 to sack. Brood Spinner, certainly good enough to murder. Or it's going to be spitting out at least 3 insects, probably more after this Surveil. Nope, they hit land. But that'll easily be more than 3 insects later, so still going to kill it. Okay, there should not be any 2-mana removal that can kill the Horde Caller at instant speed here, so they'll have to wait till their turn to kill it, so we will get our Gremlin out of this to get the Mirth going. Make sure we've still got some action. Defiled Crypt. Okay. Mirth pre-combat to see what we hit. Oh my god. I did choose to play 17 lands. That is accurate. Somebody's car starting up just sounded like a monster from Silent Hill or something. Jeez. Just mechanical screech. That's how you know it's time to go back to the mechanic. Yep. Goodbye, Horde Caller. Oh boy. Time to attack with 1/3/3. Alright, well, they have something here, but at least they use a removal spell or a trick on a 1/1 token. We have not drawn Chainsaw a single time this whole draft. And it is depressing, because I think at least 5 or 6 creatures have died in like every single game. It would have been so good. I should have moved this back. That was a miss. I might take some extra points of damage for that. I'm just getting a little lazy here. I just want to speed run towards my next draw step. I want to play spells. Ooh, nice cracked skull. Check them. Final Vengeance. Well, there you go. They've got the 5/4 that manifests when it dies. I still feel like I want to crack the Mirth badly enough to just cast this. Even though that's coming up. I don't know, like if they have another cracked skull, that's so awkward. I feel like I'm supposed to wait until that 5/4 is on the board. We're killing a much bigger threat and also stopping them from getting extra value out of it. And I'm going to hold these lands here to play around the discard 2 spell that exists in this format and has Delirium, so they could absolutely be running it in there just for Delirium synergies. Make me discard 2 cards. Perfect. Alright, now we Final Vengeance. Hello. Here. I need to check my card types for this now. Creature, instant, enchantment. So if we Delirium a land, I think they're just dead. Not literally, but they're at like 2 life or something. We've got an excellent board. Shoot. Well, these cards are awesome. Double Fear of Burning Alive is hilarious. This might be more cheeky than anything, but I'm going to set that up. Where they just don't block here. I flip up this Fear of Burning Alive, they pass back, I play the other one, and then I get to shoot 2 of their creatures and just really clear out the blockers. Yeah, watch this, is going to be awesome. The double Fear of Burning Alive Wombo combo. Goodbye, most of your board. Whee! Boop. Boop. And now they're dead, because we send in 2 creatures and they can only block 1. Again, probably more cute than anything if we took the other card that was also a pretty guaranteed way to find lethal, because then we could just sack a bunch of stuff and drain them for the extra 2 damage in the end after casting a Fear of Burning Alive. So we kind of had either path we could take there off of those really solid draws in the late game. So we are now 3-2 heading into game number 6. Alright, the double Mirth combo is pretty sick. I do need the first card to sack. That has been the biggest flaw of this deck, is the lack of like 1 and 2 mana creatures. We've got 2 1-mana creatures, like 3 or 4 2-mana creatures. So there's only like 5 things we can hit to sack in the early game to the Mirths, which is pretty awkward. Yeah, so we're just gonna keys into the land for the Egotist. Oh no, not blue-white. Terrifying deck. One of the strongest archetypes for sure. Although Rakdos by win rate I think is like 4th or 5th or something, but I would still call it one of the strongest. I think it's been consistently great for me. I'm gonna get the second black if we hit a murder. Our double red spells are like 6 mana, so I don't need it as soon as I need the double black. Need double black at 3, yeah. And there's the next red source anyway. Ego time. Yeah, we might have to just wait on the Mirth till we double Horde Caller. Or double Horde Caller, till we play Horde Caller. Unwilling Vessel, I'd like to kill that quickly. Hello there. Hello there. Well, now maybe I can. I don't like playing the land before the Percussionist trigger, but if I hit a land off Percussionist, I can play it next turn. But I really want to play Mirth and Vengeance here. Oh my god. We have the triple Mirth. We have Betrayer's Bargain for next turn. Well, worst case scenario, we kill a Stocked Researcher. The fact that it exiles means maybe I just don't even play Vengeance and I just use that on Vessel next turn. I still like mana efficiency too much. I am a tempo fiend. What's the graveyard like here? Oops, whoops, whoops, whoops. We've got an artifact for sure. Yeah, so we want the instant in the grave. Cool. Definitely don't want to trade Egotist into the Researcher when I have a removal spell waiting in exile. That's just going to go away if I don't use it. Oh my god, they're going to let me? Let me use it on a Gremlin Tamer? Oh, I see. Pick your poison. You can kill one of these. Sure. Yeah, that certainly works out fine. I will kill one of those Gremlin Tamers then. Alright, let's set up the Mirth thing again. Whee! Pretty sure I just have Delirium by now. Doesn't really matter. Yeah, there's definitely an instant in there, so I guess I'll take the instant in case there's not a land. But I'm fairly sure I have Delirium. Glimmer Burst. Get 2 1/1s off of it, thanks to Gremlin Tamer. I'm just gonna keep playing infinite copies of Mirth. It's 2 to sack with this thing. There's no really mana efficient play here. I could play Specialist in Mirth, just cracking a 2/2 again. If I set up the Horde Caller, I don't really have attacks, because the 2/2 doesn't attack into the 3/3, and I don't want the Egotist to die. So it's like Specialist in Mirth or Skin Ripper in Mirth. If I Skin Ripper in Mirth, I clear out a 1/1. That probably feels best. Although, again, I should be Mirthing first every time. My god. Got a Fear of Burning Alive and 2 Horde Callers in the hand now. Boop the enchantment. Well, they are splashing red, so maybe booping the gremlins, so if they have the thing that gives all the gremlins lifelink, They have less lifelink. That could be the play. Once they're on the board, there's not that many cards that care about your creatures being enchantments. It's really cards that trigger when the enchantments enter. Okay. And they've got double blue and 1-up now. I do not love that. So I guess Horde Collar, sack something to Egotist is still pretty good if they don't have the counterspell, and it saves my best card for if they do. Saves my best card from the counterspell. Make a huge board here if they don't deal with one of these pre-combat. No! It was Betrayer's Bargain the whole time. That is tragic. Because then Fear of Burning Alive would have played a lot better. Yeah. Tis what it is. They do not have any good blocks here, because I already want to sacrifice this Mirth to get my 2-2. So now they would just be letting me kill a creature and get the 2-2. Alright. Love that. I'm gonna poke all the eyeballs while I'm waiting. Duskmourn's domination. Now they have a 0-2. Hello, chainsaw. Wee. Yep, that's insane. I was just gonna play a Fear of Burning Alive, but this seems a little bit better. Kill the Gremlin Tamer and then just haste attack. Could trade 2/1/1s into my 2/2 and then they load up the chainsaw. And it's probably best to leave as many creatures on board as possible, so I'm not gonna offer that trade. Despite it fueling up the chainsaw, I'm gonna need leftover creatures to put the chainsaw on. To try to make sure they can't just whittle down the creatures. Goodbye, Horde Caller number 2. You tried. This is the first sighting of Chainsaw. The world has never known such a tool until today. Fear of Burning Alive, why you gotta suck right now? There's nothing to kill. There's nothing to kill. No, let's juice up a chainsaw. Trade a 1/1 into a 1/1. Is it even worth doing that? No, because that 1/1 could be attacking as something really, really big later. I guess it's worth sending the 2/2 in, though. Now they've got 2 other creatures on board, because the 2/2 trades off, then the chainsaw is making the 1/1 really big for anything else they play. Rev it up. Beaming Sauna. They're going to start drawing an extra card every turn. But they're dead on board to Fear of Burning Alive. Well, that's not on board. Fear of Burning Alive is in my hand. They're dead to Fear of Burning Alive, I should say. Okay, not with that. They're not. They're close to dead. Actually, they are, because I can put Chainsaw on the Menace threat. Yep, I've got exactly enough mana to kill them here. Sick. Boop that. Chainsaw on the Menace. Menace in for lethal. And that's game. Boom. First game where we got to play with our Chainsaw, but it was a great card that game, and we are now 4-2. We are at least breaking even out of the event. And at a positive win rate. We have lost to similar keeps, so this could be a big mistake here. Sitting here doing nothing till turn 5. But the cards are powerful. The Dragonfire defends us to get to the Horde Caller Ghost Vacuum nonsense later. Obviously, any non-land card is a great draw here. We have the perfect mana to do any of it. We crack the Expanse turn 1, make it a tiny bit less likely to draw more lands. And there won't be anything in the graveyard to use Vacuum on yet anyway. And currently, I can play Vacuum anywhere on the curve, turn 3 or turn 4 or turn 6. There's a lot of other spots we can fit 1 mana in. Crack this for F6 value. For those who don't know, if you've never played Magic Online, if you hit F6 on Magic Online, you just skip through the turn. It never asks you if you want to do anything again. Arena, you kind of have to manually tap all your mana for it to do that, or just have no instance in your hand. But there's just a button for that on Magic Online. The button on Arena doesn't work. Every time I click this pass turn button, it just doesn't care. I don't know why. There's some weird specific things about the pass turn button. Okay, this is a bad example because it's actually working right now. But I think it just like passes turn until they cast a spell is what it is. Something like that. Okay, Mirth was a pretty awkward draw to the hand with no early game. Because Mirth needs the early game to sack. But I've got 3 copies of it, so I guess it was kind of a likely draw. Even if it is an awkward one. Playing against blue-white again, so hopefully they just drop a Gremlin Tamer and we kill it. Windbreaker? A 2/2 flyer, that's not a Gremlin Tamer. Might fill the grave for Vacuum, though. Yay, an island. It's a haunted island. I have to soak it up into the Vacuum. Is his hand slow enough? I have to Dragonfire a 2/2 flyer. It could be worse. It could have manifested into a creature. It was just a 2/2. Well, classic, just like first time. We're not going to do anything till turn 5. That is 2 gambles that have paid off real badly for us. Oh, don't hold up double blue and 1. Don't hold up double blue and 1. Then I'm just going to hold up murder and feel real awkward here. How can you have 7 cards in hand and nothing to do for 3 mana? That is too likely to be a counterspell to do anything here. Until I hit a Percussionist, and then I can do so much stuff. Oh my god, it's not even a counterspell. What's going on in their hand? They have 3-color deck, or they just have a bunch of 4-mana stuff? Okay, looks like it was just a really bad, really unlucky draw for them or something. Oh, hey, Mirth. Mirth? I can play the Mirth next turn with an Egotist on board and also get life drain value. So let's do that. I'm at full Delirium unless I exile my monkey, so I'm not going to do that. Firmly grasp it. Fair enough. Oh, it could be a bunch of bounce and removal, and I just haven't been playing threats. That makes a lot of sense. Goodbye, island. Oh wait, no, I can exile the grasp. Let's do that. Mirth of Mirth. Oh, I should have replayed Egotist first, but I guess this way I can play Horde Caller instead. That is probably better than Egotist. That's definitely better than Egotist while they're tapped out. I stumbled into the right line. If I was a little too preoccupied with getting my drain value and I did just slam down Egotist before this Mirth, I wouldn't have gotten the excellent Horde Caller attack in. That would have been pretty bad. Optimistic Scavenger, that is one of the must-kill threats, so I'm happy to have a million pieces of removal. And there's their piece of removal for my must-kill threat. Okay. I will lose Delirium if I exile this Percussionist, and then I can't fear Burning Alive. So, we are not exiling the Percussionist again. Because I would like to play my removal spell that also puts a creature on the board over anything else. Well, I guess I'm not getting attacks in if I don't kill the 3/3. Do I have to fear Burning Alive the 3/3 to just jam here? I guess I'll do that. I still have Betrayer's Bargain up at instant speed, and I can sack the Mirth to it. So we can still kill the Scavenger in response to them doing anything that would trigger it too much. Bottomless Pool, bounce one of my cards. Trigger the Scavenger one time is fine. If it's the only creature on their board, they can trigger it however much they want, because I can still kill it until it has more than 5 toughness. Oh, they're going to put it back in their hand? Oh, I see what happened. I did the same thing with Meat Locker and that card and completely lost the game because of it. So I had the Optimistic Scavenger on board, and I played the Meat Locker. I wanted to stun my opponent's creature and put the +1/+1 counter on my card, but the way that the orders triggered, it made me choose the Meat Locker card first over the Scavenger card. Like, the order was weird to me, and I Meat Lockered my own creature. Lost a game. Yeah, that's brutal. They just bottomless pool their own Scavenger. They meant to put the +1/+1 counter on it. Just a perk of playing digital Magic sometimes. Misclickies are going to happen. It is tragic every time, but I think we had this game pretty unlocked. They had an awful hand. They got stuck on 3 mana for so long when their hand was like nothing but interaction. So the fact that our hand was slow was super fine because we actually hit our land drops on time to just do tons and tons of stuff here. So pretty rough game for our opponent, but we will take it. We are 5-2, officially in the money out of this draft, no matter what happens from here, with a super positive record. So great draft today. Okay. When we have the full trio, I think I'm just going to play the first one with no value at this point, because just so we get things going here. At that point, I mean, what do you do? I'm never mulliganing that. Triple Mirth. 1 for half value. Our opponent's going to be like, what is going on? Who fed you this deck? What draft pod did you come from? The Magical Christmas Land draft pod? Yes. Yes, indeed. Alright, I like the Ghost Vacuum on that Branch Snapper. Save the Expanse for next turn, probably, because we want 5 mana on 5, 6 mana on 6. So we don't need 4 mana on 4. Hello, Long Neck. Luckily, you trade down into a manifested 2/2, so you're not scary for us at all. And you're going to end up in the graveyard, which is beautiful. For my Ghost Vacuum. Betrayer's Bargain, really don't need to do that. I don't think I'm even going to hold it up here. I'm going to make sure we get the tap land out of the way to guarantee that we can Horde Caller into Fear of Burning Alive these next 2 turns. But I got triple red, double black. Yeah, getting a 3rd black so I can murder and cast another black spell if I draw one does feel like a viable play. Probably don't need quadruple red. Don't need to cast Fear of Burning Alive and 2 more red spells in the same turn. We got Delirium, land, artifact, enchantment. Nope. Oh, I can just look at Fear of Burning Alive. Don't mind me. Just being a fool, a buffoon. And here's where that extra text on Horde Caller comes in so handy. The fact that it doesn't have to attack to give you the 1/1. Because attacking with a 4/4 here is pretty bad, trading down into the 4/2. But attacking with a 2/2 is pretty good. They don't want to block with either of these. I also only want to attack with 1/2/2 because we cannot let this get its survival triggers if we can stop it from doing so. And they could easily play 1 removal spell on Horde Caller and then survival in with that if I don't hold this 2/2 up like so. But now that I have the 2/2 up, they need to double removal to get in with Survivor. So sadly, they have the double removal. I don't think there was really a way to prevent that. There's no way we were supposed to not attack and just get 0 triggers. But that is really bad. At least when they manifest, they might put another creature in grave here. If they hit like double creature. It's unlikely, but possible. Ooh, it happened. Ooh, it happened. Give me that. Scorching Dragonfire. I don't mind that. But there's only 1 creature I really need to kill right now. So I'm sure we're on Team Fear of Burning Alive. Best to kill a creature while also expanding our board. Get that out of here, put it in the trash. Loaded on removal here. Down to 9 we go. Little sketchy, but pretty much for every other turn I get to hold up 1,000,000 instant speed removal spells, and then I'm really safe. Another manifest here. Probably doesn't put another creature in grave, but again, it's possible. Yeah, just a land. Actually, really good for our opponent here, because they did not hit all of their lands on curve. So the ramp is incredibly relevant. Okay, ideally I'd like to wait till Ghost Vacuum, or wait to Ghost Vacuum until I have 8 mana. Got plenty of instants to hold up here, and I can get more creatures under it in the meantime. But just so I can Ghost Vacuum and still have one of my removal spells up to make me feel warm and comfortable. We hold up the Betrayer's Bargain with the Ghost Vacuum later. Hello, Arena. Do the thing, please. Thank you. Oh, we just take their creature again. Grab a Brood Spinner. Should probably grab my Horde Caller at least. Get 1 hasty flyer. Hello, Brood Spinner 2. I might murder that, because again, I just need to draw 1 more land to crack Ghost Vacuum and hold up Bargain. Oh. I guess it doesn't matter. Well, we're still super winning the game. In fact, we probably just have lethal if I just kill both their blockers, now that they're pretty much tapped out. Yeah, no, we exile this once they don't gain the life. Yeah, they're dead, especially if I bargain first so that we get to get another attacker. Alright, I didn't get to do things as fancy as I wanted to, but that's fine. Force them to use removal on our non-creature, so all our creatures survive and kill them. And that is 6 and 2. We have made it all the way to the final battle today. It's going to be the last game of Magic for the day, win or lose. So let's see how the deck wraps up, see if we can't get another trophy run, or we just got real close to greatness here. Ooh, it's our second time getting to run around with a chainsaw, which is always fun. Actually might be the third time. I'm not super sure. I don't know, it's another really slow hand, but kinda knew that when we drafted the deck we were gonna get a lot of hands like this. I can't betray his bargain without anything to sack, so I guess I might as well keys here. Get the second black source if we hit a murder. Boop. Playing against green. Green-blue. A lot of cards in the color pair care about Manifest Dreading. They'll like draw them extra cards and stuff like that. Alright, Chainsaw is the first removal spell, is always pretty sweet. However, the other two removal spells in our hand are both exile removal. That's a little awkward. No more rev counters off those. Happily kill this Analyst before they draw any extra cards off of it. Our Fear of Burning Alive is going to be so sad right now. We have done no Manifest Dread, we have done no Sacrifice. Still somehow halfway there. 2 out of 4, but we're not going to have Delirium for that. I need an enchantment, a creature, a land, sorcery, any combination of those. I've got a sorcery, but I have nothing to sack to it, so I can't even play it yet. I guess I could sack a leech to kill the 2/2, but that can't be worth it. Drawing the leech is good, though. That means at the very least we're going to like trade off and then have 3 out of 4 for Delirium. Maybe drawing another spell here. We can get to Delirium before we Fear of Burning Alive. Okay. Well, now I do want to kill the face down. Land is not going to do it. 1 type off. If we drew Terramorphic Expanse this game, we're there. I can't just play this without killing something when, as soon as I can cast Final Vengeance, I can do it. So if I hit like one of my 3 Disturbing Mirths or just any of the cheaper creatures in the deck, we play a creature, Final Vengeance that, and then next turn we Fear of Burning Alive their next threat. Mirth. Ew, their tap lands are untapped now. That's how much damage I've taken. The one flaw of Ghost Vacuum, it is a bad draw this late. Like capital B bad. Guess I'll die. I really don't want to Fear of Burning Alive. But if I don't, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, that's exact lethal. There's literally no other way to not die than by playing Fear of Burning Alive, and they have to have no interaction for it. So tragic. I could technically sack this to Final Vengeance that, and I would be slightly less likely to die next turn, but I would also just be locking my fate in the long run, not having any extra removal. Alright. They had a pretty fantastic suite of removal there, with all the removal spells that give +2/+2 counters, and we had some really awkward draws. Kept a slower hand and got punished again. I think every time we kept a slower hand, it worked really bad for us, except the game where our opponent just didn't hit any lands. So probably could have been a 7-win run if we mulliganed more aggressively, but I think the hands were reasonable keeps at the very least. But maybe that was the biggest learning moment here. The deck is strong enough that we could certainly win off of some 6-card hands, so I probably should have done some mulliganing today instead of like literal 0. Overall, though, fantastic run. Really happy with how I drafted. Certainly didn't play like the best or anything, but 6-3 is something I'm really, really perfectly happy with in just your average Premier draft. Yeah, deck's great. Deck's pretty awesome. Pretty happy with everything about it. It's a little on the slower end, and we saw that come back to bite us in those losses. But overall, some really sweet stuff, giving us pretty huge prize out here at 1,800 gems and 5 packs of Duskmourn House of Horror. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for supporting the channel, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in a recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.